It's nice to be here with you today. I just wanted to share a little bit of my own experience as both a bicyclist and as a driver of a large vehicle on campus, because I see bicycling really from both aspects. First, as a bicyclist, if it were not for a bike helmet, I would not be here today. And it just absolutely amazes me to see so many of you and other students and others around the campus really risking your life by riding around without a helmet on. Let me just relay my own experience. This was about 2 years ago. I was riding my bicycle really for exercise at that point, as opposed to rushing to a class or rushing to my office. But I was riding for exercise with a couple of friends. And it was right at the end of the ride. I was sort of saying goodbye to a couple of them. And as I was turning left towards my home, another bicyclist came roaring up behind me and struck the rear wheel of my bike. Never saw the other bike, but it immediately sort of flipped my bike over. I landed hard on my left side, actually fractured my femur, ended up in the hospital for a couple of days because of that. But I also smashed my head on the pavement, and the helmet did exactly what it's supposed to do. It actually splintered into several pieces. And my head, I came out without a concussion or any kind of severe injury. But I'm absolutely convinced that had I not been wearing the helmet at that point, I would either be dead or permanently disabled. So, for me, riding with a helmet is just it's the same as putting on a seatbelt when I get in a car. I don't know how many of you drive without a seatbelt on, but for me, riding with a helmet is kind of the same instinctive reaction. And your life is just so precious that I really encourage all of you to think about it. I know it's tough with the hair. I know it's hard to figure out what I do with a helmet when I go to class. I know, just keeping track of it is difficult. But, it's the inexpensive helmets can be $15, $20 with the subsidies. And even if you lose a few of them, I think it's a great investment. The other part of the experience I want to share is I have a big job on campus. I typically park next to M2, which is where my office is Building 60, which is the building right next to M2 in the quad. And when I drive out at night, it's actually terrifying for me, because so many of you on your bicycle are going back and forth. Not only behind the quad, but on Santa Teresa. As you're rushing out of White Plaza, those that live on that part of campus towards Lagunita and Robley. And it just astonishes me to see not only people riding in dark clothing without lights on their bike, but sort of casually weaving back and forth to the middle of the street as hanging on to a cell phone or listening to your iPod. And there have been so many times where I've come so close to just knocking someone over or hitting them pretty hard with my car. And I think between a Suburban and a bicycle, I know who's going to win that battle. It's not going to be a pretty scene for those of you on the bike. So my only encouragement, I'm not trying to be a big meanie. I have no stake in this myself, but from the standpoint of just protecting your own life and having the chance to enjoy your career and the rest of your life. I mean, wearing reflective clothing, having a bike light that works, paying attention when you're on the bike, just seem like really simple investments that all of you can make to maintain your own safety going forward. So that's my message. Hopefully it's meaningful to some of you, and I'll turn the program back over to the experts here. Thank you.
Great, thank you.